Hi there. Today we have a peaceful word, an early military commander. We'll talk about the Gregorian calendar, a song, and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa and let's have a look. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for February 17th. February 17th is the 48th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 317 days remaining to the end of the year, 318 if it happens to be a leap year. Today's word is Ahimsa. The word Ahimsa is a noun that means the principle of nonviolence toward all living beings. This concept is fundamental in religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Mahatma Gandhi practiced Ahimsa, advocating peaceful resistance against colonial rule. Jain monks follow Ahimsa by avoiding harm to even the smallest creatures. The philosophy of Ahimsa extends beyond physical actions to include nonviolent speech and thoughts. The word Ahimsa comes to us from Sanskrit and is sort of a compound word formed by a prefix and a root word that, once assembled, mean not and to injure or harm. So literally non-injuring or non-harming. Of course, the Sanskrit language is quite ancient, centuries if not millennia old, but the first known use in English is in the 1880s. By the way, Ahimsa isn't just about physical actions. It also applies to words and thoughts, with the idea being that practicing kindness internally can lead to more peace externally. Ahimsa. The word Ahimsa was suggested by YouTube viewer at T. Ramsire. Thanks, Teresa. We also are looking at lower than normal temps predicted this week. So all of y'all stay warm, stay as warm as you can. And if you have a word you're curious about, drop it in the comments. We'll see what we can find out. And with that, Miles Standish came over with the English on the Mayflower. He was appointed as the first military commander of the English Plymouth colony in North America on February 17, 1621. I guess he did a good job, because the Plymouth colony militia continued to elect him to that position for the rest of his life. One of his tactics was to strike in preemptive action. I think his motive was probably to stop trouble before it started or to nip it in the bud, and it seems to have been fairly effective, but this was occasionally perceived as unnecessarily brutal. As I mentioned, though, the Plymouth colony militia continued to elect him as commander for the rest of his life. As he grew older, he switched from an active role to more of an advisory role, and if the name Miles Standish seems familiar to you, you might have heard of a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow called The Courtship of Miles Standish. The poem was written in 1858, over 200 years after today's historical item, and it was a highly fictionalized piece depicting Standish as a timid romantic. Given his approach to matters during his time as a military commander of the Plymouth colony, it seems unlikely that he was all that timid or romantic, but it does make a nice story. This poem was quite popular in the 1800s and rather cemented the role of the Pilgrim story in American culture. Miles Standish. Now, you know, I mention the Gregorian calendar to you every day of the world when I tell you what day we're going to talk about and where that day falls in the year. The Gregorian calendar, as I have mentioned before, was introduced by Pope Gregory the 13th in 1582. The Gregorian calendar contains some slight modifications and corrections to the previous calendar, which was the Julian calendar that had been introduced in 45 BC. The rollout of the Gregorian calendar took a while to get off the ground. Humans, of course, are loath to make changes in their lives. The rollout of the Gregorian calendar was slow and incremental, but on February 17, 1753, almost 200 years after the introduction of the Gregorian calendar, February 17th was followed by March 1st in Sweden, when they switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar. Today's song is Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. Written by John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, and Desmond Child, Living on a Prayer tells a relatable story of a couple of young adults, Tommy and Gina, who are struggling to get by and finding strength in their love for each other. They encourage each other, saying, "Take my hand and we'll make it, I swear." Great song. Released late in 1986, Living on a Prayer became Bon Jovi's signature song and was certified triple platinum in 2013 with over 3 million downloads. The fictional, one could say archetypal characters, Tommy and Gina, also get a mention in Bon Jovi's 2000 song, It's My Life. But today we're talking about Living on a Prayer, which we find in the first of 4 weeks in the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100, February 17th, 1987. Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. Link in the description. How about that? Today's quote is about patience. And I can tell you a little something about patience, and that is, don't ask for it. Do not ask for patience, because what you'll get is a test. You ask for patience, you're going to get a test. Just work on practicing it. Work on practicing it. So here's the quote, and it's from Elon Musk, of all people, who said, "Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson." Alrighty. Y'all have a great day. Stay warm, stay curious, be kind, and I'll see you next time. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That playlist lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page. It's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.